August 4th, 2022. Time is approximately 6:11. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Chaplain.
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us safely here this evening. Please guide us in our deliberations and help us make prudent and wise decisions for those whom we serve. Amen.
Amen. Roll call, please.
President John Chicken.
Here.
Secretary Denise Williams, present. Sergeant at Arms Amanda Cook. Here. Chaplain Jim Singler.
Here.
Member Tom Milnick. Here. Member Janet Thu. Excused. Member Steve Beneke.
Present.
Past Chair Vic Martinka. Absent. Past Chair John York.
Absolutely.
Past Chair Wayne Horn.
Here. We have a quorum. Now we'll go through the introduction of guests or first-time attendees. Anyone new here? All right, thank you. We'll now start our public comment. We'll line up, whoever wants to speak, line up before the podium right there. And announce your name, so forth, and 3 minutes.
Where's the rule that says that?
3 minutes, please.
Where's the rule that says that? Show me the policy. You don't have one. Robert's rules don't say 3 minutes.
You're not for 3 minutes yet, please. First speaker.
All right, my name is Raj Pillai. Is this on? I'm sorry.
No, we do not have tech today,
Okay.
and that's on the county side. I tried my best and I was unable to. So we will try to project as best we can.
Okay.
$495,000 on that.
So my name is Raj Pillai. I'm an alternate delegate and a commission member from the Plainfield American Legion. So
Point of order,
Point of order?
point of order, this is alternate, that is the delegate here. Are you here?
this is public comment.
Is this are you in his place? You announced who you were.
Yeah, I'm in public
You're
comment.
not a commission member, you're an
I'm a commission member. Yeah, alternate delegates are commission members by law.
Thank you.
So I'd like to continue my comment, and that time should not be taken off of my 3 minutes. So, some of you guys continue to break the law. There's no real other way to put it. People already know about the $495,000 that was given away by the former superintendent to a friend of hers without the board's knowledge and no real accountability of how it was all spent. The former superintendent resigned, and when it was brought to light, and the friend's business website was shut down. We know this already. And as many people in this room are aware, 8 out of 10 board members here on the executive committee were found ineligible to serve on the commission based on Military Veterans Assistance Act, but you still decided to have a meeting and break the law. Under a FOIA request conducted by the Edgar County Watchdogs, only 2 members on this committee have had proper appointments. At that time, they confirmed if the forms were complete and time-stamped, and they need to be received in the first 60 days of the year, and the subsequent forms received were not received in the first 60 days of the year. Within a week or so, 2 additional forms magically appeared, and there is no timestamp by email or otherwise on those. I also was privy to a letter that the state's attorney sent to the VAC. A lot of people here know about this. Essentially mentioned that due to the myriad of issues that are being faced by the VAC, they will stop representing the VAC at these meetings. So the state's attorney said, this is too hot, and walked away from the commission. because of how shady things actually are. Your lawyers walked away. Under these circumstances, the $495,000, board members not being properly appointed, and the state's attorney walking out, you guys still decided to have a special meeting and sent out the agenda to the commission members the morning of. I got that agenda at 11:28 a.m. this morning. By law, you shouldn't even be having a meeting because most people sitting up there are not eligible to be on this board. You decided to do it anyways. Given the circumstances, it's very problematic that you have an agenda item on employment. I don't know if you're trying to hire someone, fire someone, but commission members need to be in that closed session by law. And that's coming from the Attorney General. This is what we're going to be left with. Your legacy will end with the giveaway of veterans' money, violating the law, and your own attorneys walking away from you. Basically, your legacy was supposed to be helping veterans, but it will end up with hurting veterans, maybe even criminal activity. I think I heard the number 37 years. I think that the few of you that are behind these violations, if you took 37 minutes to act responsible, you wouldn't throw away that 37-year legacy, which will end in shame and embarrassment for this entire commission. Thank you.
Madam Secretary, maybe you should be listening to the public comments instead of eating your Altoids and passing notes like a
Take
Out of
kid.
order.
Take the podium.
Who said she was out of order? Was that the attorney that said that? You were out of order for speaking. You're not a board member.
Out of order.
Why, because I corrected Madam Secretary?
I'm sorry?
You heard what I said.
3 minutes, please, start.
First of all, I would like to thank every veteran here for my freedom. And to the Vietnam vets, I would like to say to you, welcome home. I promise you that I will never forget. And that's one of the reasons I'm here again this evening. Our veterans have been wronged by these people up here who refuse to take any kind of responsibility for what has happened. $500,000 is gone. It went to someone's friend, the supervisor who is no longer the supervisor up here. And now they want us to trust them again with another appointment. Madam Secretary sits up here chewing on her Altoids and passing notes back and forth during public comments and doesn't have the decency or the respectability to listen to anything anyone says. And Mr. President, you're supposed to be running these meetings. Why aren't you? Why is the secretary doing that? And why aren't you calling her out of order when she's being rude and disrespectful to guests? And you sit there with your mouth open and you change the rules as you go along to suit your needs. You say Robert's rules, well, show me where Robert's rule says it's 3 minutes. And our AG, Mr. Glasgow's office, has wiped his hands of this. Pontius Pilate washed his hands when they crucified Jesus. That didn't make him innocent. And I'm telling you all, there's a reckoning coming. Taxpayers and vets alike are sick of this kind of treatment. $500,000 is gone, and you can't even tell the public what you got for it.
Oh,
And what's funny?
You.
And how is that funny?
You're out of order and start speaking time.
$500,000, what's funny about that being gone? What did you get for that $500,000 of taxpayer money?
Things like that.
Give her every 3 minutes, please.
And why am I being interrupted? You're the ones that are out of order. This meeting should not even be happening. You people are irrelevant and illegal. And there is going to be a day of reckoning. And I hope that I'm here to see it. I will help.
Thank you.
I'm John Kraft. The commission shall be composed of delegates and alternates selected by the veteran service organizations. Shall is not optional. The Veterans Assistance Commissions shall allow each veteran service organization until March 1 to appoint. On March 1, the ones that were appointed take office as the commission. There's no until March 1 or until the end of July when somebody figures out that 8 of you were never appointed by a VSO. Jack, you're the first one that should go. You should just get up and walk right now. And Mr. 37 years, if you had any integrity, you
It's
can
only
leave
20.
too. I can talk to you if I want to.
I said it's only 20.
28, whatever, 27 too long. It's amazing. I just can't believe it. So, section 1 describes veteran service organizations. And so does section 11, effective next January. If you're in an organization that covers more than one county, 25% of your membership has to be residents of Will County. People have asked, I understand, and you have decided not to answer. But you will end up answering. Section 9A1, delegates and alternates begin their term of office March 1. Other things. Each delegate or alternate is appointed annually on March 1. Then on that date, all appointed by the VSOs start their term of office. The term of office is 1 year. They cannot be extended by making illegal bylaws, which you guys did. You extended the term to 2 years of committee members of the actual commission. Then, when the statute only gives authority to take action to the commission and to the superintendent, you guys decide with your illegal bylaws that you're going to take action. You're going to approve the budget. You're going to hire the assistant or deputy superintendent. You don't have that authority. You're going to hire the superintendent. You don't have that authority. Not only did you take authority from the people authorized by the statute, you're prohibiting them from having authority by doing what you're doing. 8 of you should just get up and walk out and say thanks. I would thank you for your service, because it does not need to end this way with the embarrassment that you're fixing to make yourselves. It shouldn't end that way. I spent 22 years in the Army. I would never participate in the illegal activities that you guys are participating in.
Thank you.
And to say that there's a 3-minute time limit, the Open Meetings Act says
3 minutes.
you have to have a policy, and you do not have a policy. Nothing in Robert's Rules says 3 minutes. You're a disgrace.
Thank you for your comment.
My name's Kirk Allen. I can't count how many meetings I've attended across the state. I'm a co-founder of the Edgar County Watchdogs, or a local government accountability organization. I want to start with your agenda. It states in the legal notice of public meeting, will be held before the commissioners of the Veterans Assistance Commission. Where are those commissioners at? Where are they at? I see an executive committee of questionably that some folks shouldn't be here, but this specifically says this is a meeting to be held before the commissioners. Where are the commissioners?
Not a question and answer, a comment period, sorry.
Actually, I can ask any question I want. You can choose not to answer
the questions.
My point is, your agenda says this is a meeting before the commissioners. It's not, is it? Okay? Also has on here approval of the budget. That's not a duty that you folks have the power to. Where in the statute does it give you the power to approve the budget for the commission? It doesn't. See, I like to ask questions. One of them is says who, the other is with what proof. This gentleman here to my right, I can't see your name, I apologize. But I came 3.5 hours because of what I heard last time, your comments. And you snarked up here earlier about Robert's Rules, Robert's Rules. How many have actually read Robert's Rules? You have, really? Where in Robert's Rules does it talk about 3 minutes?
I want you to look it up.
You know what, sir? It's on page 928, 929. There it is. There's no place in it that talks about 3 minutes. Nowhere. And the law says you have to adopt a public comment policy if you're going to enforce time frame. You haven't done that. You have, I'm assuming, legal counsel up here now. What meeting was held to hire legal counsel? You can't just arbitrarily hire legal counsel without board approval. You're here to represent veterans. I spent a career in the military, and I am ashamed of what I'm seeing because, number one, when you restrict people's comments, it's the most fundamental right we have, is the right to speak and the right to free speech and to address our government. And you folks have put clamps on it? It's appalling. It's the most unprofessional thing I've ever witnessed in my entire life. And you don't have the decency to have a conversation and discuss the matters. And what happens when you do that? It forces people to make assumptions of what position you're taking. I don't want to make that assumption, but you're forcing me to take the assumption you don't give a rat's ass about these people. And that's where the breakdown happens, and that's where the frustration happens. You have to have a dialogue. You sit up here like children and make snarky comments and say, 3 minutes, your time's up.
3
Yet
minutes,
you
your time's up.
can't produce a single record of a public comment policy where you've adopted 3 minutes as the time limit.
3 minutes, please.
Okay, my question is,
Thank you
what
for
are
your
you going to
comment.
do if I continue to speak? What are you going to do?
I'm gonna politely ask you to leave. And if you don't wanna do that, then we're gonna have to shut the whole meeting down.
So
On your behalf.
if I don't stop speaking, you'll shut the meeting down.
At some point, we're gonna have to leave.
Okay, then
So
that's
if you
fair.
If you wanna filibuster us,
I'll be happy to, ma'am.
How about a little thing called the First Amendment?
But, and see, there's the importance of having that public comment policy. And I do appreciate your comment because it does start a dialogue. By having the policy, it's a way, yes, I'm disrupting in your opinion. This is my public comment. You have no policy adopted under the Open Meetings Act. Therefore, you have no power to tell me I have to shut up. If you think you have that power, tell us where it is. That's not asking too much, is it? Sir, here's a copy. Right there. The most current edition of Robert's Rules. Right here on page,
so.
under paragraph 928, 929, it covers public.
So
I can
there's
read
some
it if you like.
confusion here. This is not a question and answer.
I'm not asking him a question. He
No,
says, here's
if-
the rules.
If you want us to answer your questions, you need to allow us to get into our business so that we can discuss the issues on the agenda. Right now, you're stopping us from doing the business of the commission, and you want us to respond to you. How would a commission do that if you're gonna sit here and talk in your public comment, which is not a question-answer session?
Actually, public comment is for comment and or questions. You choose whether or not you want to answer. You've chosen not to answer, so we have to assume. My questions are viable questions that you're not going to
Please,
discuss
the
them.
next speaker, your 3 minutes are done. Thank you for your
My
comment.
question,
Thank
Chairman,
you for
is
your
what are you
comment.
going to do if I continue to speak? By who? Under what authority? Cite the authority, please.
Chapter 20, Section 60,
Of what?
Robert's Rules of Order, which is our procedure based on Robert's Rules of Order.
Chapter,
You are
si-
deemed
chapter
disruptive.
60?
We can ask you to leave, and if you choose not to, we will have to make other arrangements.
60 and what?
Chapter 20, that's 2 X's.
Okay? 60 and 20, is that what you said?
Yeah, 61.
All right, sir.
Please read it, sir.
Would you like me to read it?
Yes, we would like to hear it.
we want to hear.
6120, if a person, whether a member of the assembly or not, refuses to obey the order of proper authority to leave the hall during the meeting, the chair should take necessary measures to see that order is enforced, but should be guided by a judicious appraisal of the situation. The chairman can appoint a
You're being
committee.
disruptive of
The
the
chairman
meeting
can
right
appoint
now.
a committee
We're
to
gonna ask
escort
you
the offender to the
please
door or the sergeant at
read
arms
the
if there
next
is
speaker.
one. Can be asked to do this.
Hi.
Proper
My
authority.
name's Amanda Cook, and I'm the sergeant at arms.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I do not want to kick you out of this meeting.
In that judicial process, so you know, there's parts, no,
We're
no, sir, I'm
gonna
not.
argue one
Parts
way
of
or the other,
Robert's-
please.
arguing with
Parts
you.
of Robert's Rules of Order do not conform to the Open Meetings Act. The only parts of this that are applicable are those that comply with the laws. There's some rules you
Are
can
you
apply.
done
asking
right now,
nicely.
please, disrupting the meeting?
Please have
What
a seat.
about
Have the officer remove him, please.
So you're stopping me from speaking.
Have the officer remove
She's out
him.
of order, remove her.
Give your time, every 3 minutes.
So you want me to give my time to him, to her, or to
Well, you're
him?
not giving your time to anybody, you've already taken your 3 minutes
Your
plus.
3 minutes
I'd
are
like
up.
you to allow the next member of the public to speak.
somebody.
I'm asking for that.
Would the board take a vote to do that, please?
I don't have to
You don't need to
vote.
take-
I
Yes,
can
you
decide.
You're violating the Open Meetings Act, sir.
Okay,
That's a
thank
Class
you.
C misdemeanor, so you know what you folks have just done is a Class C misdemeanor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our Constitution takes over after.
You're not up here, ma'am. Get in line if you wanna talk. You had your 3
We have a
minutes.
right to ask.
Next
questions
speaker,
of our-
please.
Oh.
I've never seen such arrogance.
Oh.
My name is Jim Lanham. I'm not a veteran, but I have family and friends that are veterans, and I'm here for them. Right before I came here, I Googled Will County VAC digital marketing ads. Not one came up. Can you produce any type of invoice or receipt for these ads? I don't see any ads at all. How hard is it to not find something on Google? It doesn't exist. As I said the last time I spoke here, that money could have been spent to save lives, like my friend Todd Hansen. Here's his marker at Abraham Lincoln, very fresh. He died a troubled person. He could have used help, and $495,000 was spent on bullshit. That's insane. Tell us what it was spent on. And the person who called my friend Raj and one of the other members of the Plainfield Legion Brown Boys, you need to resign immediately as well. And the rest of you up there with your haughty looks and your pissy attitudes, stick them up your ass.
Thank you. Next, please. Ed.
1 second, I apologize. My son is in Russia right now, guarding the U.S. Embassy. Go before me. I do want to talk, but this is more important at the moment.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is William Sutton. I'm the delegate for the Plainfield American Legion. I'm here with my commander as well. You stated just earlier that if there was questions, that you guys would answer those. As it was pointed out last meeting, and I was even informed by Mr. Horn here, I've been asking that same question for now 4 months now? This will be my fourth? This will be your fourth month. So he just admitted that I've been asking the question for 4 months. That question still hasn't been answered.
Actually, I said you showed up.
Same difference. So I've been asking the same question, and nobody's answered me. Nobody at all. Nobody has answered my question. So I'm gonna give you a little background why this is so passionate for me. See, I am a Purple Heart veteran. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I watched 25 of my Marines die over in Afghanistan. 25 of my Marines, not just people that I was associated with, my actual Marines. Over 200. All of them, after that committed suicide and everything else that we all that have served know that terrible thing of PTSD. Money can go towards mental health treatment. Money can go towards all these other programs out there to help veterans. But it hasn't. There's been no answers. There's been nothing. But I can tell you what there has been. A bunch of people that care about the community asking questions. There has been commission members who have not been allowed to go into closed meetings, which is wrong and illegal. As a commission member, I have just as much say as everybody up there. That's wrong. How come these situations haven't been addressed? How come my question hasn't been addressed? How come I already know that the timer's about to go off? How come me, as a delegate for this post, just like probably every one of you up there, how come I don't have time to say whatever I want for however long I want? How come? And I know I left here early, and I know Tom had something to say. So Tom, by all means, I will give you the rest of my time so you can go ahead and address me as you said you wanted to last meeting, because I'm now here to hear it personally.
How much?
Okay. So there again, you won't do it. You wait for me to leave to address things about me. If you have an issue with me or me standing up for veterans, by all means, say it. I have an issue. I'm standing here saying it to you all. What's so wrong? What are you so scared of to answer me? I'm just one person in this whole world. I'm not big, bad, scary anybody. I'm just another veteran that's just asking some questions. So I just expect an answer as a commission member. And that's it.
Thank you.
I do apologize. The world is the world. First off, my name is Dan Miller. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran of 30 years. I've listened to everyone. We spent a hell of a lot of time talking about 3 minutes and rules and regulations. And as a retired sergeant major, I completely understand rules and regulations. However, what I'm about to say, I think some people in here may have forgotten. People on this board and some of the people in this room that I know personally and professionally have done a hell of a lot for veterans, me included. We get angry, we get mad. We go off of hearsay, we go off of somebody told me this, or I read this and I don't know if it's true or not, or I don't have all the facts for everything. You know, on top of being a Marine, I was a cop for 24 years, and I can tell you that without solid facts and solid proof, people are innocent until proven guilty, because if it was any other way, half the people that I locked up would never see the light of day. I had to prove it in a court of law that they were wrong. And 400 and how much? 400 and how much was the money? 490, almost 500,000, correct? Do we know exactly where it has or has not gone? Can anybody tell me right now exactly where it has or has not gone? Without a shadow of a doubt. No. Nobody knows, right? So until we know exactly where it is,
know the business name of where it went. They have that record.
until we know exactly where it's at, people are innocent until proven guilty.
So how do we get that information if they won't cooperate with the taxpayers?
So
We continue to work the proper way. There's a route, but we continue to work the proper way instead of jabbing each other and getting nowhere. Because what I've seen right now in the last 45 minutes is a lot of people yelling at each other and nobody going anywhere. And I'm sorry, as a veteran who works with veterans every day, I know, as Will said, there's a lot of guys and girls out there that still need help. You know, when I lost 16 Marines in combat, I myself was hurt, and I lost 9 Marines to suicide. And I know I'm going to lose more. So we can't forget that these people up here, the Will County Veterans Assistance Commission in general, still helps veterans. There are still people out there that come in there that get help, the help that they need. We can't forget that. So once people are proven guilty, they're guilty, then hammer them. I did it for 24 years. I hammered the shit out of people that were guilty. But until we get to that point, eye on the prize and do it correctly instead of jabbing each other with a bunch of bullshit. End of story.
Thank you. That concludes our public comment. Next agenda item, business tonight, is consideration by the commission of our amended budget for fiscal year 2023. Is there a motion to open this matter for discussion?
Motion to open this matter for discussion. Williams.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed?
Williams and Cook.
Motion carried.
Williams motion, Cook second.
Okay, now we have general discussion about the different numbers.
Alright, I'll go ahead and begin. I'll try to project as best as possible. I really appreciate Assistant Superintendent for getting this line item budget together. It's a lot more helpful. And you're helping me understand exactly where how much we've used, how much we have left, and so on. So when we start looking at our fiscal year budget for 2023, it's important to understand that we're doing this early because all this stuff has to go to Will County, to the county board, to the executive's office, and be approved. So that's why we're doing it so early. Now, the one question that we had on this budget previously is 545010, and that's $91,114, and that is rentals, land, and building. And I had guessed in the past that perhaps that was us renting our space on Glenwood Avenue, but that is not the case. So, does anybody want to explain what it really is from the staff?
Financial assistance. So financial assistance helps cover the cost of mortgage or rent.
Okay, so this helps cover the cost of mortgage or rents. And so let's go ahead and look back at our this year. And you can find the same line item. Sorry, communicators. You can see that it's 545015.
No, 545010. 15 is the emergency. That's the grant for the emergency shelters. 545010.
All right, so in the past, we've had a grant, which you can see is 75,500. Okay, that's part of all this. So are we looking at 545010 and 545015 kind of combining together then in
No,
the 23 budget?
545015 is not taken in consideration for the budget because that's the grant. It's the emergency solutions grant for the
But my
hotel.
question is, did we assume that we needed that same amount of money from those two line items to get the 91,000?
I can assume anything because I didn't put together the budget.
Who put together the budget?
The previous superintendent.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were not aware of that?
No, sir.
How come?
I can answer.
Are you not the assistant superintendent?
I am, but I can answer why it was not.
So this is all done planned by one person?
Yes, sir. In fact, Eric, I believe she said to you, what about the budget?
When we were changing over, she told me that the budget line items were all set and all I had to do was carry over to the next year without having to change anything.
So you were aware of it?
I was aware that she'd set the budget line items for last year and that she instructed me to carry them over from next year because they were all good, and I took her word for it. She was my boss, she was turning it over to me.
As the boss. So what was your responsibility is my question. Is that not your understanding?
Yes.
So right now for our fiscal year, which ends December 1st, we have already spent, I'm not a mathematician, it's just shy of $20,000 on rental assistance.
You're looking at 545010?
And 15. Because it's a grant for the same purpose.
No, it's not. So the 545010 is for the financial assistance program. That is to help offset the cost of rent or mortgage for the financial assistance program. 545010 is the grant money for the emergency shelter Equality Inn.
All right, so if they're not connected, my really big question here is that it looks like we didn't spend the $10,000 in 545010. As a board, I want to ask my fellow board members if we think we need 91,114 for fiscal year 23. I don't feel like we do. If we didn't spend $10,000, why do we need $90,000 next year?
Yeah, basically, we spent for 12, 15, 18 vets we had back then. Now, basically, we got 4, is about
4 to 5.
4 to 5, so we're
Correct.
down from 15 to 18 to only 4, so we shouldn't need total money for this.
All right.
Point of order, I want to just ask the question, why why hasn't the commission seen this budget, and why are we, as a commission or a board, not asking these questions before the
Comment,
meeting?
this is not open to comment. Board meeting.
I'm speaking as a commission member.
No, I'm happy to respond to you. So we actually asked for this line item budget.
Correct.
Because we didn't get it from staff in the past. So the reason that it's here today is because we didn't get it in the past. So that's why I want to talk about it today.
I understand, but there seems to be a common practice of not addressing these very semantical questions before the meeting, and I think that might be
What
good
question?
practice. These types of questions can be addressed before the meeting. This seems like a grilling session is what it seems like, so this is a suggestion that I'm making to you guys, that before you come into the meeting as an executive committee, you should ask these questions beforehand, so this is a much cleaner conversation.
I'm gonna wholeheartedly disagree with you.
Okay, well.
That
you
I
can-
will conduct all business for this commission in an open meeting. Unless it's an executive session, which falls under the
I'm
Open
not
Meetings Act.
telling you not to do.
So
it.
I'm not gonna sit in the office and talk with one or two board members and a staff member about this budget. If there's something that I see that I'm unsure about voting on, I will always talk about it in an open commission meeting.
My issue is that every time you guys look at the budget, it seems like the first time you're looking at it. That's the sense that.
This is not the first time I'm looking at it.
Okay.
However, we have a lot of people here today that may not have seen it yet. So when I'm talking about it, I'm gonna be very specific about what line items I'm talking about, where that money is going and why, because I think it's important with all the people who've been visiting us lately, that they need to understand what business we are conducting.
I also
If the
think it's
only
important-
reason that you wanna come here is to read from me Robert's Rules of Order and not to understand the business of the commission, then you might want to skip the meeting next time, because I do intend on talking about our business, which is on the agenda, which is the budget.
Maybe
Is
you
it
should
okay
send
with you?
Maybe you should send the budget to the entire commission so we can see it. We have not seen this.
You may talk to my staff about that. We have a person we literally hired to liaise between the board of commissioners and the office.
The board is still responsible for this. So we as commission members, my issue is I have not seen this.
No.
I have not seen this budget.
No.
The board has oversight over the budget. But
Yes.
I'm done, that's all I want to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden it's a big deal. All right, so anyways, we have the 91,000, and I'm just gonna propose to us that perhaps we consider doing something else with this, because we clearly don't need it for all this. If we were using it, not a problem, right? But because we're not using it for that rental assistance, is there another place we could put this in the budget before it goes for county approval? Yeah, go ahead.
If I can, is anyone aware that this number perhaps went down in 2022 because funding came from alternate sources under some of the COVID and CARES and other things? And perhaps people got assistance from another entity and didn't maybe come to us that we had anticipated?
Well, no, you're absolutely right, and I
Okay.
love that question, because that's like where the,
Because I don't want it to.
like that grant, for example,
Yeah,
right?
go this year.
So that's why I was talking about those two things together, because I'm saying, all right, well, we have 10,000 that we didn't spend. We spent close to 10,000.
I just wanna make sure if it doesn't spike again this year, and we don't have the money in the pot for it, it might be.
Right, I don't wanna short it.
Right.
So the number that's in that line item is predicated on previous year expenditures. And that is nowhere near $91,000. So that kind of does say, has there been currently, 2022, because of pandemic, because of all of this, has there been other funding sources? Therefore, people aren't coming to us for that, yes. So what we do is we look at previous year budget. We can tell ballpark minimum what that previous year budget, based on what our budgeted amount for 2022 was. That budget amount is $10,000. So we can safely assume that $10,000 is closer to what we actually need in that amount. Here's the issue, the real bottom line to this. With the money sitting in that particular space, That is the only thing that we can use it for once it goes through the Will County Board approval process. To then move it into other places takes a full action by the Will County Board. We are currently working with a proposed budget. We can set this in such a way and put the majority of this money in such a place so that it will be flexible for us if we need to move it in the 2023 fiscal year. As it sits, it's not flexible. If it turns out that all of a sudden we need an extra $35,000, $40,000 in rental assistance, we'll be able to move it back at that point. But if we need that money for a different program, we can't move it later. So moving it now as part of the proposed budget just simply answers all of the questions and as many possible contingencies as we can address. Does that answer your question?
Except that what was the expenditure in 21? Because again, we had a lot of mortgage offsets, we had a lot of things that happened that people didn't have to pay things during 22. If we've been, I mean, I would presume that 22 was set based on 21, how budgeting usually works.
Can I actually intervene? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, that's what I'm just, you know.
So, yeah, there was the reduction from 2021. You'll see that there was, almost a $60,000, because that's when the financial assistance policy changed. Remember, when it went from the recurring to when it had an end date. So that's the reduction there. That actually does not take into consideration the grants or anything else. That was based just on the change in the financial assistance program. It was no longer ongoing. It had the 6 month cap. So what happened this year in January of 2022, that opened back up. So all those people who were not eligible anymore, all of a sudden became eligible. We didn't see the influx so that we were anticipating, probably because there was money available from other sources. Not to say that when the COVID money dries up, we're not gonna then see the influx from the other sources, but like you're saying, we'll have the flexibility if we do see it coming where we can move it. If we can move it preemptively, that would be awesome. But if we have to, I'd rather be proactive than reactive. But if we have to be reactive, we can go back to the board and request an amendment and do a resolution. So, but that is the change between those years.
I wouldn't want to say in 2023, let's only put 10,000.
Let's just get to 2022.
Everything could skyrocket, yeah.
So for 2022, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding, that we have spent average of $1,400 a month.
That's on the high end. So it actually goes between $1,050 to I think about $1,750 was the highest. So it's low.
So $1,000 to less than $2,000. We are in the 8th month. We've just entered the 8th month of the year.
We're only at 11%.
And the fiscal year is nearly up.
Yeah, we're only at 11%. We are more than fine on the budget.
So I appreciate your explaining it that way. And I also appreciate, the idea that we have no idea what's gonna happen in 2023. Just like we could not have predicted in 2019 what was gonna happen in 2020. So we don't know what's gonna happen in 2023, but having that flexibility is paramount. So that we are nimble and agile to be able to be responsive to the needs of the veterans that are coming in the door.
Well,
so what we're proposing is the amount that gets moved, and where is the most flexible place that we can move it into?
So if you want, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I wasn't really sure where we were going with this. I can go back tomorrow and look at the average from the past 2 years since the policy did change and come up with a monthly average and let you know, and you can then base it off of that, projecting out. There are certain line items within the budget that you can only transfer without board approval from one to the other. So I can also send you that information and you can make your decision based on that. Remember, even if you want to move it from a line item to another line item that requires board approval, we can do that too. We can present it to the finance committee and they can submit a resolution. So it just depends on what line items, and I can send you like which line item can go to which line item without board approval, and then which line item can go
with board approval.
All right, so, and I wanna make sure that I'm being real clear on my question and what we're gonna ask for the next meeting, which is all of Tuesday. So what I'm gonna be asking for is, what is the average assistance from 2021 and 2022 monthly assistance since the change in financial assistance policy? And then the second half of that question is, which budget line item is going to be most efficacious for us to move to, meaning that it will allow us the agility to move from if we need to without going through the county board approval process, that we can just simply move. So we can move things from one place to another. Everything we do gets approved by the county board, yes, but some things require a resolution and some things don't. So the question is, what line item can we move and how much money can we move to a line item that does not require a resolution to then move it from that line item if we so need?
Now, my suggestion, to point you in the right direction, I would imagine that when we talk about 541090, other professional services, we have $39 in there, but since we don't have the state's attorney and we have a lot of people who want to create some issues, we're probably gonna have to retain counsel, and we may need to put some money in there for professional services to have it available.
I don't mean to cut you off, I'm sorry. If you go back to budget analysis, we actually have 30,000 in there. We've spent $39. We actually have 30,000 in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm on the wrong page.
Yeah, it gets confusing going between the analysis and the trial balance, so if you're looking, on the trial balance, that's what we've spent, debit out of it. So when you're looking at what we started the budget and what we currently have in there, that's gonna be on the budget analysis. The trial balance is what we
I see it now. I'm with you.
Okay, what we're going through here, right? Basically, we're gonna have to table this until we get the right information.
Absolutely, I just want to give her a little direction.
Okay.
So I'm considering doing that only because I know that professional services can be a little bit flexible, and I do think it'd be really easy, and I could be wrong.
No, those two can be moved.
To pull out of professional services and put it back in emergency rental.
And we can do that on the local level. That doesn't have to go for board approval.
Which is perfect.
So I'd like to
Now,
make
can we
a
do it in
motion.
reverse?
Yes, between those two line items, yes. That's a D365 thing. That's not county finance.
So I'd like to make a motion to table this, moving the line item, moving dollar amounts, moving the budget, until Tuesday's meeting, which is August 9th.
I'll second that motion, Cook.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, that's the question. Our next item is closed session. Comment?
I'd like to ask the audience, because when we come back from executive session, perhaps there won't be as many here.
Is this a question and answer session?
Do you have the floor? I'd like to know how many delegates are here. Delegates. Delegates.
Well, don't raise your hand, because you ain't one.
You're really disrupting. So we have three of you, and you will be showing up. Was there one over here?
The commander was thankful for.
The what?
The commander?
No, you're the delegates.
Oh, I thought you were asking who was over there.
No, I was wondering if there were any delegates over there.
Three.
So there's three delegates, okay. Thank you.
How about all delegates and alternates raise their hand?
Our next item of business is closed session.
All right, I make the motion to go into closed session, Cook.
We gotta go first here. Okay.
I don't have the agenda.
Our agenda. We are pending probable or imminent litigation.
Who second closed?
I have to say it.
Okay. Sir, point of order?
For the purposes of pending probable or imminent litigation, 5 ILCS 120-2C11, and employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of certain employees, 5 ILCS 120-/2C1.
Now finally, it's statutory authority for you to have any authority over employees.
Point of order. Do we have a second, please?
Excuse me, we have a point of order over here by a butt.
All in favor, aye?
Point of
Opposed,
order.
nay? Motion carries, we'll now proceed to the closed session. Following the closed session, we'll return to
So
open
commission
session.
members are allowed
For the sole
inside
purpose of
closed
adjournment.
sessions.
Yeah, just go in there. Go in there. Commission members.
Go in there.
I can't hear I'm just giving you a little direction.
Commission, if they tell you to leave, you voluntarily.
Did you catch who seconded that?
I can't hear anything. They're all talking over each other again.
It's a secret.
Your arrogance is unreal.
Well, you might have to be in there. It's about personnel.
You don't give a damn about our guests.
Where's your, where's your, where's your delegate? Were you appointed?